Right. So we're back here on episode 61 of the Commanders in the Chat podcast. What's going on, Rob?
I'm still trying to process how I feel about today's results. I don't really know. Maybe I'll figure it out by the end of the show.
Yeah, about that. So obviously, in this game it was tied 2020. So the Washington Commanders now fall to 7-5-1. It kind of reminded me of October 30th, 2016. And it's funny, we always talk about that tie in London. That's
Yep.
came up often a lot on this show, and it really felt that way. Probably from it was to me, it felt like a heavyweight fight. Like I was really exhausted after this game. I mean, literally, I couldn't imagine being on the field, but mentally, I was exhausted. Like because it was so many, too many turns and so many, things with it. But so let's get into it. So, Rob, what's like your initial thoughts on this tie?
I don't like ties. You brought it up. October 30th, 2016. That was coincidentally the first year that me and my wife started dating. And she's a Bengals fan, and we had a bet on that game that resulted in a tie. That was the London game. Was technically a home game for Cincinnati, which I could have gone to had it been in Cincinnati because at the time I was living in Columbus. But again, we keep going back. It seems like every few weeks we keep referencing the tie against the Bengals, which led to later on down the road a win in your in game against the Giants later on that year, which we eventually lost. If we would have won that game, if Dustin Hopkins would have done what he was supposed to do, made that field goal in overtime, we're going into East Rutherford week 17 with a clinched playoff spot. We wouldn't even have needed that win. But, missed the field goal, ended up tying, needed that win week 17, and just it fell apart that year in that game for us. And here it feels like it doesn't feel the same. It kind of feels like the opposite just because of where we started this year at 1-4, fought back to 7-5 before today's game, 6-1 over the last 6 weeks or over the last 7 weeks. Best record in the NFL. Now we're 6-1-1, which I think still is the best record in the NFL since week 6. But it doesn't feel like a loss. One, because of how we played. We did not play great. We had flashes. We had glimpses. Taylor Heineke finally got some touchdown passes. One to Terry McLaurin, one to Jahan Dotson, which I feel like he should have went down to kind of bleed some clock. But it ended up working out in our favor anyways. Run game was good. It was just, I don't think this feels like a loss because, like you said before we started, the Giants have the Eagles next week. Not everybody in the league can beat the Eagles. So far, only one team can say that they beat the Eagles this year, which is us on Monday Night Football at the Link. So we have that kind of going for us right now. And then we also get to see them again in 2 weeks. You just saw this team at probably, you know what all their strengths are. Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones played a lot better than I thought he was going to. I didn't think he was going to be much of a factor. I was wrong about that. But now you have a whole 2 weeks, either 2 full weeks, 14 days, or you have, 13 days if we end up getting pushed to that Saturday night game, the 2 games Saturday night, but we got 2 weeks to prep for this team once again. And I like our chances.
Yeah, and this is like you said. To me, it was kind of like it was a heavyweight fight for me. Where I look at it just from the simple fact of both had counter punches, and at the end of the day, it came as a draw. Like you said, I think I'm actually like you said, I look at this more almost like a win for us in a sense because now you think about it, we only have 2 more divisional games left, and they're going to be at home. So that's the kind of the beauty thing about it. We're not on the road no more for a divisional game. Obviously, we just got one more cross country trip, and that's it. So I look at that from the standpoint, and then just the simple fact of if you look in those games, like you said, if Ben don't break was a term that's in the dictionary, this 2022 Washington Commanders team, and this game alone would be it would have been a picture, would have been a caption to that definition. It was so many points where the Giants were like in field goal range, and then obviously certain plays happened. I think obviously that taunting play with I forgot number 76 for the Giants where he was taunting guys and they got moved back. I think that was a critical play for us to, because they pretty much were driving on us to a point where they were in field goal range and they had to go back. So that was definitely where they really could have put the nail in the coffin in that game, in that point of the game. So I look at those type of situations. And like you said, you talked about like Dustin Hopkins. Honestly, if Joey Slye made that field goal, we wouldn't even this wouldn't even be a tie. This would be an 8-5 team. You know, when you look at it from that standpoint, obviously at that time we were down 13-20. Would keep that field goal to been down by 4 and then be able to have that drive. But and I was really impressed with Taylor Heinicke, especially in that fourth quarter, especially that third and long, getting into Curtis out of nowhere. Because I don't know if that was a third or fourth down, but it was the one to Curtis, and I thought he was gonna throw it out of bounds. I didn't even know he was gonna find Curtis. So that play was huge, and I just I liked what he, his confidence, even though he got sacked 4 times in that game, but in the same token, he still was able to sling that football, and he was able to make the plays when need be. Yeah, I'm encouraged. I mean, even though like you said it is tied, but I'm encouraged. Like this is a team that didn't fight because it was obviously, especially considering the fact they were rolling in the beginning. Obviously that turnover with Daniel Jones that led to the 3 points, and then obviously having that 10-point lead, and then the Giants coming back and pretty much had control of this game, and then Washington came back, and it was just very strategic. They did a lot of stuff, even down to that final drive in overtime where that Brian Robinson played to kind of just get him out of dodge, because we were literally an inch away from it being a safety and a loss. So heads up to Brian Robinson to make a play like that to at least get you out of somewhat of a lost territory. So being able to kind of run it out of bounds, get him some room, and then have that running play and force the Giants to do that timeout and give them less time in overtime. And it's funny because we were going back and forth. We were like, man, it's gonna be a tie, because it's how it felt, because just the field position. Then even after they got the ball, we stopped them because remember they were right in their field goal range. And then we got to stop, and then they ended up punting. And then the same thing went for us, where I thought we were in the driver's seat, and then some things happened in that drive. But when Graham Gano missed that field goal, I was like, "Ooh, thank the Lord!" Because there was some opportunity in this game that we should have lost this football game. But shout out to our former kicker, Graham Gano. He did another clutch play by a former Commander. So on our end, but gosh, I like Graham. And it's funny as always when they talk about like his highest. And remember, I forgot what was the stat. He was like, I forgot what was his stat when he went over like 50-yard field goals. I forgot what it was. But I'm like, man, they do that. It's like, don't be putting these not like good. Put all this stats.
Right.
Say everything good about him, because we can't freeze him when you have no timeout. So
exactly,
So hey, that's the best thing. He's 6'6" for I forgot what it was. It was something. It was a weird stat, but I like. Thank goodness. Yeah. So the other thing I want to discuss. So now, and we talk about ties. So obviously, we know how the overtime rules are in the regular season, but we know you can't have, it'll be, somewhat like another overtime frame if it was in the playoffs. So should that same rule apply in regular season games where there should be ties in the regular season?
Yeah. There should not be ties in the regular season. This isn't football. Or I'm sorry, this isn't soccer. This is football. It's not soccer. But I think college has overtime to a T. Like they have it perfectly. Yeah. I love the college overtime system. You start from, I think it was a 20, 25, 35, something like that. You start from there and you try to score. If you do, the other team gets a chance. And at a certain point, when you reach, I think it's the fourth overtime, no kicking extra points, you have to go for 2. I think that's perfect because it's much more exciting. And again, it won't end in a tie. And it's, yeah, NFL needs to go with college. And while we're on the subject of the rules, this is a little off topic, but something that irritates me in almost every game. The rules committee needs to fix the pass interference when it comes to balls that are underthrown. I hate, I cannot stand with a passion balls that are underthrown and the receiver has to come back and get hit by the DB who's running perfect coverage with them, but because the quarterback doesn't have the arm to get it over, it's a defensive PI and a free 30, 40, 50 yards. But that's my little tangent. But yeah, overtime rules are terrible. It's either and the way they tried to fix it still didn't do what it should. Like if the team scores a touchdown, the first team to have possession scores a touchdown, game is over. No. It should be at the very least guaranteed each team gets a possession. You can even do the kickoff, let them kick a field goal. The other team gets it. If it's tied after that, then go to college rules. And I don't care at that point. But the overtime rules of the NFL do need to change because ties are ridiculous. It's 2022, almost 2023. Ties should not be a thing.
Yeah, and I agree with you, especially with the college aspect because you're at a short field. So you're at the 25, and pretty much it's 4-down territory, essentially. Especially like maybe after a certain time. So that definitely shows you, that's kind of one of the things where the defense is going to have to win you this football game because obviously they're defending the short field. I definitely like that idea because at the end of the day, yeah, because you think about it, they play 60 minutes and they're still at a tie. What you think an extra 10 minutes is going to do to subside that as well? Because if they, especially in this game, it's almost like I knew it's almost like we were going to go. It was going to be a tie. And I think I talked to you when I text Cindy that text. It was probably like halfway in overtime. I'm like, watch, this is going to be a tie. Because I knew, because the way these teams were playing, it's almost like it was like everybody was trying to it was like chess and checkers, but we always playing checkers. I mean, like playing chess. Everybody trying to jockey in position because everybody and the Giants are smart in their approach, and the Commanders were smart in their approach as well. So it was kind of one of those like game recognized game, and it was like all right. It's a tie. But like you said, I think college is the best because I think, and especially, it's going to make it exciting. And like you said, I don't think the whole 10 minutes is going to do its justice. But like you said, if you have a scenario where, hey, if you go for like in this case, like how this would have happened. So the Giants would have had the ball first. If the Giants would have kicked a field goal or scored, Washington had to match that. So if they would have kicked a field goal, then the Commanders either can kick a field goal or score a touchdown, and then vice versa. Then Washington gets the ball back, and then if they get a stop, and all the Giants got to do is kick a field goal, and they're in. So it's kind of it's an easier way, and it's probably more quick and efficient. Yep. Because obviously, especially if there's a situation where you've already scored, say for instance your defense has a critical turnover. And in most cases, it could be a 4-down territory. So, so fourth downs are going to matter. They have to convert on fourth down, which is definitely tough. So, yeah, big time. But yeah, I definitely think that's gonna. I think that's gonna definitely happen, and it's kind of. I don't know if it's gonna work in our favor or the Giants' favor. But this is going to be kind of one of those where I think this is almost going to be like what happened with Buffalo, where it's going to have some type of ramifications playoff-wise. So yeah. I think this might be a perfect game to maybe look at this and be like, this ain't right. Because I think it's probably going to hurt the Giants probably more. Especially considering the fact they still got to play Philly twice, and they got to play us one more time. So it's like, and they're 0-2-1 in the division.
Yep.
So that's where it's like, at least with us, we got 2. No, we won We won 2-1.
We are yes, because
Yeah, we
we
won 2-1.
lost once to the Eagles, once to
Yes,
Dallas,
yeah, we
and then
won
obviously
Philly.
beat Philly on Monday night.
Then we got the tie. So yeah, so this is another one, and that's why, like we talked about, this game, this game in 2 weeks is definitely gonna be critical. But yeah, and that's why I think this might be a case study of being like, hey, if we should have had a winner or loser in this game. And I think, and I'm thinking it's probably gonna lean maybe towards the Giants too, because I still think they're probably more likely. I know this week, when they play the Giants next week, but I don't know how it's going to be, obviously in January the 8th, because I don't know if essentially the Giants going to, if the Eagles going to probably, not even play their starters, especially if they're going for that. And then they might be going for the number 1 seed. So who knows what's going to happen essentially 4 weeks from today. So that's the thing. Well, 5 weeks now. Yeah, maybe 5 weeks from today, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Really bizarre, but it is what it is. So,
yeah, but I think the Eagles are going to have the 1 seed locked up by then, because I think Minnesota. I think Walker said it on our group chat. Minnesota is coming. They're coming down to earth.
Yeah,
they're not. I've been saying, a lot of people have been saying, myself included, they're not as good as their record showed, and I think it kind of was very prominent earlier today against the Jets. But yeah, I think the Eagles are going to have the 1 seed locked up come week 17 or week 18, and then they'll probably sit most of their guys.
So that's So you never know how that game is going to play out, but then you obviously, it's going to definitely be interesting, and it's so many dominoes at this point. That's got to be that are shifting, good and bad. So it's going to be definitely an interesting stretch coming down the pike for the Commanders. So we got to give out team grades. What's your grade on this offense?
I give them a C plus. They were really stagnant a lot of the time. They were very lackluster for a majority of the game. The Taylor Heineke came up clutch in that drive to tie the ball game up in the Jahan Dotson touchdown pass. But in overtime, they needed 3, 4, 5 yards to get into Joey Sly's range and couldn't do it after a first down. They had that on a first down, could not get the yards to get in Sly's range. Very disappointed. That also is a part on. I will also blame Scott Turner and his play calling. His play calling was very iffy today. I wasn't a fan of it. He's been really good over the last 7 games. So today I don't know. I don't know what his issue was today, but he played it. He called it well enough to get a tie and didn't lose the game. Offense, I give him a C plus because they did play very well at times when they needed to. Defense, then I'll give him a B plus. Daniel Jones kind of ate us up again, or not again, but he ate us up. There were a couple good runs by Saquon, a couple good runs by Daniel Jones. But in the passing game, Daniel Jones, he carved up this defense, which I did not see coming. I think I said it 2 weeks ago. Just as a quick highlight of this game was you shut down Saquon Barkley and make Daniel Jones beat you with his arm, and he nearly did that today. Special teams, A, solid A. Joey Sly had that missed field goal, which if you look at it, you can say cost us the game. That was 3 points that we needed. But at the same time, we had other opportunities to get back within field goal range in overtime and win the game, which we didn't do. Refs, they get a special grade today. They get an F. The refs completely hosed us today.
For sure.
Again, I try not to be that guy. I try not to be the refs and the conspiracy is fixed, but that game almost looked fixed today. Like there was a hold on Terry McLaurin that Heineke threw in the corners of right before the end zone. The flag was thrown, and I don't know what happened, who talked to him, who paid him, but they picked up the flag and said called no flag. Like how It was just it was bad. What's the name? Thibodeau. He
Oh yeah,
ripped off. I think it was Leno's helmet. I forgot who the lineman was. The right tackle. His helmet went flying. How that wasn't seen, I have no idea. Like I don't know if the refs thought that Leno just took his own helmet off and threw it, but nothing was called. It was just a bad officiating game all around. Every other play, Washington was getting a flag called on them, a false start, a block in the back, but seemed like Giants were playing the perfect execution, perfect discipline, the best discipline of any team in the NFL this year. And yeah, refs special grade F. They were trash today.
Yeah. So I think offensively, definitely, I think I'm gonna give this team probably a B minus. Like you said, there was moments of stagnation, but I definitely I love like the fourth quarter as far as that poise by Taylor Haneke, especially when Nick Martin came in the game. I was like, this is like kind of Tennessee all over again. And Tennessee and Philadelphia, it was really more so like Philadelphia. No, that's right. But anyway, but for him to have that poise, and they was throwing the kitchen sink at Taylor Haneke, and he was still able to kind of get there. And just, obviously, the plays, Curtis Samuel, and now it's funny, everybody now using that coin and phrase, he's our Deebo Samuel, which you heard that here first. So you look at that, their production. Taylor Haneke didn't throw the ball over, no interception this week. So kudos to him. The rush yards, I mean, we ran the ball pretty good. I mean, we had 165 yards rushing, which ain't, it's just, it's still good. And obviously, and Terry, just being able to utilize all his weapons, because we all knew Terry was getting doubled. Terry was he was getting blanketed out there, but he did hit Jahan, and then also hit and then also hit Terry that first touchdown that we had to take that 10-0 lead. But yeah, defensively wise, I think they're another good day at the office. I give them a B as well. They made the stops when need be. I think you just look at just it just proves to us like, hey, when their backs against the wall, they can perform, and that's what they did. And I just like what Jack Del Rio is doing at this point. He's actually he's definitely turned the corner in my eyes. So that, and special teams always is an integral part of us. Obviously, gives us good opportunities for field position, and that's one thing with Tress Way. What he does is so underrated. But we know it, so we know how vital he is to the success of this team. And then, like I said, a Joey Slye kick, it's gonna happen, and it's one of those where you want to take that back, and hopefully, we could have, that could have been the deciding factor of this game. But hey, it didn't. We didn't lose the game, so I can't really, I would be, if I'm the Giants, I'd probably be a little bit more upset with Graham Gano than how we would be with Joey Slye. Because even at that point, we still been down by 3. So no, because not 4. My bad, we'd be down by 4. Because it'd been 16-20. So versus here, and they put Graham Gano in somewhat of a good spot too. Because remember, they had the field goal mark, and they still probably gained maybe almost a first down past that yard marker, so that he had 10 extra yards to his range. So I would have been pissed if I was a Giants fan and Graham Gano missing it compared to how we would have felt with Joey Slye.
Yeah, but it was, there was a lot of things that went wrong in this game that were very disappointing though.
For sure. So. And it's funny when this schedule came out, and it's funny when we did they did the schedule release, they did the video, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm seeing all these games, and I'm like, we playing up into December. with no break. I'm like, a bad week, the second week of December. But officially, we are here at the bad week. But before we kind of talk about the bad week, obviously we got 13 weeks in the book. So how are you feeling about this team? You know, this first 13 weeks before our bad week.
A true Ron Rivera led team. It's a roller coaster. Started 1-4. We were pretty much, I think, both of us, along with a lot of Commanders Twitter, was done with this team, ready to pack it up and look towards next season. Carson Wentz hurts his thumb in that Thursday night game against the Bears, and everything just kind of flipped. Heineke came in, led us to that win against Green Bay, which Green Bay's not the Green Bay of past. This isn't your older brother's Green Bay Packers. This is a much depleted version, shell of themselves that we've seen in the past. Then the Vikings game almost should have been a dub. Let's be honest. To be sitting at 7-5-1 potentially could have been 8-5 at where we started this season. With the schedule we have coming up, like we talked about earlier, we have the Giants again in 2 weeks. Have 2 weeks to prepare, coming off a bye. After that, we have Cleveland, which Deshaun Watson came back today. They struggled early in the game against Houston, which Deshaun Watson didn't do that. That they scored a lot of points, but not a lot, if any, was because of Deshaun Watson. Donovan Peoples-Jones had a punt return for a touchdown. I think they had a pick six and a fumble recovery for touchdowns. So that was a majority of their points right there. So I don't think Cleveland is as good with plus Deshaun Watson as people think. Then you mentioned it earlier. Jimmy G's out. He broke his foot. He's done for the season. They're working with Brock Purdy out of, I want to say, Baylor?
Iowa State.
Iowa State?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. No. Yeah. Because the Cyclones. Yeah. He was there with Brees Hall and all them. Yeah.
And then
it's irrelevant.
And then you got Dallas coming out, which Dallas looks like, Dallas looks for real. If I was going to admit any year that Dallas looked like a legit Super Bowl contender, this would be that year. So we're still, with all intents and purposes, we control our own destiny.
Yep.
If we beat the Giants in 2 weeks, that puts us ahead of them. We don't need to worry about, and then just and win out, we're good.
Yeah.
After 13 weeks, I like where we're sitting. I like our chances. I'm very optimistic, probably too optimistic for the way this team has been treating us lately over the last 20 years, but I'm optimistic. I like where this team is headed. I like what Ron Rivera has done.
Yeah, and a lot of it, yeah, and it's like you said, this is a Ron Rivera-led team where, hey, there was going to always be moments where it's in doubt. But ever since pretty much essentially that Thursday night game, we've been on the road. That was just the start of the beginning. Obviously, yeah, I mean, you had some really gutsy wins. Obviously, Green Bay, even though, they still got the 2-time league MVP. So, that wasn't really nothing. That was really a big accomplishment for us because, couldn't think about it. They might have came in with a better record than we did at the time.
Yeah.
I think they had a better record than we did when we played them on October the 23rd. But that, obviously, the win in Indy, those close wins, and then, obviously the heartbreaking loss in Minnesota, then going to Philly and winning that game on Monday Night Football and pretty much shocking the NFL world, so yeah, I mean, it's been a heck of a ride, especially, and I think, and like we said, this might have been the best time to have a bad week because my biggest fear in the beginning of the year was what if this team is on the road, but especially after what happened today, I was like, this might be the best time to have a bad because this when you have an attack like this, and I know this game it wore them out. It's like something. I know this will be something kind of hard to kind of come back and play again in like a week. Now you know potentially have 2 weeks, maybe 13 days to prepare for this game. So you look at that, and I'm like you said, I'm encouraged because you think about it. Pretty much after Christmas Eve, we got home games. We got two home games. So I'm like, this is perfect. I'm like, we only got 4 games left, and 3 of them at home. This is literally might have been the schedule makers actually did us a favor. You know, so you look at we'll have any more NFC East games on the road, so we're done with that.
Yeah.
And like you said, we got an interesting, you know, I don't know how Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy is going to be. We see them in in less than 3 weeks from today. So we shall see. Then Deshaun Watson comes home. You know, when it comes home, he don't come home. When we got him at home. And
I think they're flipped. I might be wrong, but I think we have Cleveland first and then San Fran.
Oh no, we got San Fran on Christmas Eve.
Okay,
and then we got Cleveland January let's say 4th of July, Lord, New Year's Day.
Okay,
all this stuff rolls into it. Yeah, because San Francisco is Christmas Eve.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I knew that was the odd one because that's a Saturday. Because I think only 3 games that's Sunday, 3 weeks from today for Christmas Day, which oh my God, they're gonna be some horrible games on Christmas Day. I'm like the Rams and the Broncos at 4:00. I'm like, oh my gosh, like they telling people with the Rams like, yo, donate your tickets.
Yeah,
donate your tickets because we know you ain't coming to this game.
And it's crazy that when the schedule got released, like that was a marquee matchup. People were probably excited for that, and now we're sitting here like, man,
like because now Stafford and IR, they got my guy Bryce Perkins from UVA going to be the starting quarterback. So I like it. Then you got the Broncos and they just
Mr. Unlimited.
Oh God, Mr. Cringe,
who has looked nothing but limited since he got to Denver.
And he got to be from my home. He got to be from my hometown too.
Yeah,
so it's like, gosh,
that's what y'all be. That's what y'all be breeding out there.
Yeah, man.
Mr. Unlimited,
the 2-time Richard Tanner Match Player of the Year. So I was call him that. Yeah, but I'm definitely impressed. And like the bye week actually came at such a perfect time for this team. So yeah, it's
remember I told you that when the schedule came out.
Yeah, you did tell me. Yeah, and I was
like, I don't like it. I was like, nope, that's gonna be clutch right there.
Yeah, and because
you give these guys rest in week 14. They've been battling for 13 straight
weeks. And that's why
not only the rest. But you give the coaching staff 2 weeks to prepare for the team you just faced and tied.
Exactly.
You're right there on the cusp of a playoff spot. I didn't see it working out to this effect, but I knew that a week 14 bye week was going to be clutch.
Yeah, because my biggest fear, like I was saying earlier, like was if they was on a win streak, then that could kind of stop the momentum. But like I said, this might have been the best outcome because I always even looked at it from I was like, well, at least with the Giants, we either split it because either we win that game and then we lose after the bye week, or we lose, make the adjustments, and then win at home. Yep. So I just hope we'll have another time. Like we have another time.
We can't have.
We have another. You cannot be 7-5-2. Like that would be wild. I know I don't want to put that in the air, but God, all teams gonna make every team in NFC East make it, and then you had 2 teams that made it with 2 ties. Like like that's so crazy. But
and possibility, we got another 2 weeks. We might finally see the Chase Young, who was in street clothes again today. I don't think we will. I don't think he's playing out all this season unless we make the playoffs.
I don't think they should bring it back, especially now. It's because now we only got 4 games left, and it's almost like I'd rather him instead of having the opportunity, well, not opportunity, but risking an injury and then not him being able to rehab again this offseason.
Well, I
You
think
know,
I read something that Montez Sweat might be in concussion protocol.
yes, yeah,
So
yeah. So we shall see if he could, hopefully in 2 weeks, that's just a side.
yeah,
Hopefully, but I don't know. A part of me wants him to play, but then a part of me is like, I don't know. I mean, because he would be. I mean, that would be such a added addition.
yeah,
Like because he's a game changer. He's our best guy. As far as from just from from a roster perspective.
yeah.
As far as on paper, he's our best defender. And then adding him and his intensity, and like you said, it might be a better thing him coming off that bye and that game. Well, whatever's gonna be, that play's gonna be bananas next week.
It better be. I better see nothing but red and white there. If I see a bunch of blue on TV, I'm gonna come after every Commanders fan on Twitter.
Exactly, and I'm gonna go. Yeah, and I'll be pissed because I'm like, look, y'all need to be out here because this is big time. So yeah. So final topic. Up next, two favorite words. Bad week. Woo, we've made it to the bad week.
we made it to the bye week at 8 or 7, 5-1.
That's unreal.
If you would have told me going into the bye week after the even after the Bears game, the Bears game, if you would have said, don't worry, y'all gonna be 7, 5-1 going into the bye week, I would have laughed at you, and I would have asked you, hand over whatever it is you're smoking, sniffing, injecting, shooting up. It doesn't matter. Give me some of that because that had to have been good stuff.
For real.
7, 5-1 on the cusp of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Man, feels good. I'm excited. Gives us a little break next week when I can just sit and just enjoy a day of football. Get to watch the Bengals game. My wife's been sacrificing because we keep missing the Bengals games. So finally be able to get to sit down and actually watch them play next week. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, I'm loving where we're at. And bye week could not have come at a better time.
I know, and it's interesting. I know, and it's weird because I always say like with a bad week, I always say I'm just gonna not watch football, but I end up watching it. What I end up doing, I end up just watching Red Zone with my guy Scott Hansen. And it's crazy. Like I think about Scott Hansen. I think about days when he used to cover the Ravens. I'm that old.
Yeah.
Like I remember when he used to cover the Ravens, locally here, and and all of them. It's so crazy. I feel old. Like say he still used to cover the Ravens. Like all of them. It's like it's so crazy now. Like how they have moved on and did their thing. So So I always look at them and be like, I remember them when they were covering the Ravens. Because I remember that's when Deion Sanders was the not the coach, but he was playing for the Ravens at the time.
Yeah.
And it was Scott Hansen. He was covering them and say still. It's crazy. But yeah, I go and see someone of my I wasn't a child at the time, but yeah, getting to see Scott Hansen 7 hours of uninterrupted football.
Yep. Couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, so I think I am gonna watch some Red Zone. Relax, and yes, and that's one thing you don't have to. Because like with me, when it comes to the command, it's like everything gotta stop.
Yeah,
it's like I try not to deviate from things like as far as people like, oh, we should go to a bar and watch the game. No, I'm like I want to hear it. I want to experience it in the comfort of my home or maybe someone else's house or wherever. I don't want to go out. No, just not. So like you said, it'll be a normal week, and like I even loved it when we like had Monday night games, even the primetime games, like on Thursday night, where that Sunday just you can relax, you ain't gotta worry about nothing. Like, and that's the thing and I think that's why I like people like we talk about all the time, the psychosis of all this. it's like it's an unexplainable feeling where it's like you love the team so much, but it gives you like anxiety.
Yeah.
It
Oh
kind
yeah.
of gives you it's the most unexplainable thing that you can ever think of, where you love the team, and I think the letdown after a loss, because you get up early, you do your thing, you do everything, and this is and it's that's appointment television.
Yeah.
When the Commanders are playing, everything stops. So
Yeah.
yeah, and like I remember even last year where it was like, oh, I'm so glad the season over, man. About third week in January, I was like, man, even though we was the way, Paul, because that was second week of January, probably right before the Super Bowl, I like, man, I can't wait till we play in September. I can't wait till
Right.
we start again. But that's how it is. Like that first, like after, obviously, I think because we played Dallas. We played
Yeah.
Dallas in the season. Yeah, we played Dallas in the season. No, we played the Giants because we beat them 22-7. I remember that. That was
Last
after
year.
that. Yeah, after that, I was like, phew, it's over. We 7-10. Good. I ain't got to worry about this team no more. But about a few weeks later, I was like, man, I was surely missed these 17 weeks
Yeah.
of disappointments.
I'll tell you what. I've been in
Yeah.
so many toxic relationships in my life, but
Oh yeah,
none like this one.
Yes, yeah. This one. This is the worst one, because at least this one will never ever love you back the way that you would love it.
Right? You might think it will.
Right. You always think at some point like this gonna love you back, but it's not. It's never.
Nope.
It's gonna always disappoint you, and it affects it affects other relationships at times for some folks.
Exactly.
And I don't know. And like I would literally, like, when the schedule comes up, I really planned my life between September to January predicated on football.
Same.
Yeah, and it's bizarre. Like like everything revolves around football. If I want to go and travel somewhere, okay, well, they got a game. Maybe I go to this game on the road, maybe go to a home game or whatever. And it's like, what are you doing this Sunday? Well, Commanders come on at 1:00. And it's like, when are you available on a Sunday? December 11th.
Right.
Right. That's the only Sunday I'm available. Okay, well, we do got a Thursday night game in October. I'm available, like, I forgot what was that Sunday, maybe like I think was the 15th or the 16th of October. And then when we had November, I'm like, I'm not free on Sundays until until at this point to February the 19th. So like, so it's like, hey,
Exactly.
But that's the life of a football fan. And and I know, I can appreciate everybody's in my life that actually allowed me to have these type of schedules and still love me unconditionally, unlike the Washington Commanders do for me. But but yeah, toxic is the operative word. But yeah. So yeah, we'll put a bow on tonight's pod. So Rob, tell them where you can find your social media and any upcoming project what you got going on.
You already know where you can find me, FNC Pod on Twitter, Football and Chill Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. I have nothing big coming up. As you can see, background is a little bit different. I've officially moved down to San Diego. Should be getting my actual computer and everything set up hopefully within the next week. But other than that, Commanders in the Chat is my main focus right now.
Yep. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, obviously Commanders ITC. Anywhere you get your podcast, Commanders in the Chat. And also check out my other podcast, Couch Coach Live. Pretty much anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, with there, and also social media at Couch Coach Live. So, yep. So this has been this week's Commanders in the Chat post game. And man, whew, we taking a bad week.
Yeah. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
We tired, so
We're gonna take our own little vacation.
for sure. Like what Ron Rivera say, this could be the week that you take care of yourself, and then get ready for the stretch. So we're gonna take care of ourselves next week, and take a bye. We'll catch you guys in 2 weeks, man. And we are out.